Out of the arena entrance emerged the High Lord Raven, who led several hundred warriors and dozens of standard bearers of House Raven out into the center of the field. Every single one of them were outfitted with dark purple cloaks and had on some form of armor. The High Lord himself wore a full set of heavy-plated body armor, with an intimidating helmet in the shape of a raven. Remus Raven roared at the crowd as he drew his sword and raised it high above his head. Thousands of fans cheered at the grandiose entrance. In terms of showmanship, House Raven had undeniably outshined House Hayfield. Lord Ulrich looked up at the sky a final time, then gulped as he approached the center of the field with Amelia and Nathan. To every other onlooker's eyes, the outcome looked obviously predetermined. Hundreds of warriors gazed hatefully towards Ulrich, an aging rural lord with no one at his side besides his two teenage children. As the two houses stood facing each other in the center of the stadium, Duke Godricson's official in charge of the aristocracy examination arrived and walked up to a small stage set in the very center of the field. The official host held up his hands and cleared his throat as he waited for the crowds to quiet down. Finally, after several moments of silence, his voice boomed out loud enough for all to hear. "Welcome, citizens of Godric's Land, to the final fight of the aristocracy examination. After today, the titles of nobility shall be henceforth codified for another 10 years. Life and death hangs in the balance, folks. It is not gold or influence that shall win this day, but the strongest hand that wields the sword. Let the heavens choose who ought to win the day, and let us revel in their strength and honor." Once again the crowd went wild, as Nathan stared into the eyes of Remus Raven, the one aspect of the man that was not hidden beneath a heavy sheet of armor. The host turned to the High Lord Raven and motioned out towards the crowd. "Has House Raven anything to say before the match begins?" The High Lord Raven chuckled, then glared at Nathan as he bellowed out for all to hear. "Whoever wishes to offend the good name of House Raven in the future should take note of this day. I am about to teach a bloody lesson for all those who refuse to accept my power. House Hayfield shall be utterly destroyed." The hundreds of House Raven warriors behind him chanted as their fists hit against the tops of their shields. "Hua! Hua! Hua!" The host of the event then turned to Ulrich, but it was Nathan who stepped forward and smiled as he retorted first on his family's behalf. "Is it true House Raven seeks to scare me with theatrics? I was not born yesterday. I know as well as all of you that the number of warriors at one's call does not matter if they are not of quality. Just wait and see what happens when they send their best against me." With that, Nathan leaped into the smaller ring where the duel was to take place within the stadium grounds. Nathan drew his broadsword. Then he pointed directly at the host of warriors under the banner of House Raven and beckoned for them to join him. "Now, let's not keep the people waiting. Which one of you bastards wishes to die first?" The crowd in the stadium went crazy at Nathan's provocative words. Although it seemed obvious that the Hayfields were outmatched, the citizens of Godricshall loved honorable warriors who refused to shy away from a fight. Many of the legendary sons of great warriors in the kingdom of Calandria revolved around an underdog story. The High Lord Raven sneered beneath his heavy planted armor as Nathan beckoned House Raven to send one of their warriors forward into the ring. "The Hayfield brat with the loud mouth went up first. Very well then, let's stick to the plan. Grimgore." Grimgore Raven, Remus's younger brother, approached the front of the host of warriors and bowed. I'm ready, brother. Let me show these fools the error of their ways. Remus smiled at Grimgore and roughly patted his armor-plated back. Come back with the foul-mouthed boy's head, or don't come back at all. Don't worry, brother. This won't take long. I might as well stay in and slay the father as well after this. I doubt they'll even be able to put a dent in my armor. Grimgore grinned confidently, then leaped into the dueling ring across from Nathan and drew his sword. Grimgore practiced a few lightning-fast strokes of his blade in the air, kicking up the sand around him as the crowd cheered and praised his swordsmanship. Finally, he stopped and held his blade up directly pointed at Nathan. I, Grimgore Raven, shall be your opponent. Consider yourself honored that such a mighty warrior will be the one to take your life. Nathan merely scoffed, not in the least bit intimidated by the blade movements. Heh, enough circus tricks. Let's begin already. The official host of the aristocracy examination scurried into the dueling ring and held his hands up above his head. The first duel shall be Nathan of House Hayfield versus Grimgore of House Raven. The crowd roared even louder than before, eager for the fight to begin. Folks in the crowd whispered anxiously, but the betting stalls were largely empty. Nobody was fool enough to bet against Grimgore. After all, he was a top-level 9 apprenticed warrior, and Nathan was merely a youth. However, as the fight was about to begin, Hilda Moonweaver frantically jumped out of her seat and placed all her winnings from the spiritual warrior examination on Nathan to win.
Come on, Hayfield boy! Heavens help you! I want a new front patio!
The betting agent chuckled as he took Hilda's money. All around them, folks were whispering anxiously about the inevitable outcome.
This is ridiculous. Why would House Hayfield send out a child? He's no match for a fully grown warrior like Grimgore Raven. So strange. Perhaps the boy wishes to sacrifice himself in order to save his father somehow. It's honorable, but definitely a foolhardy thing to do. I didn't come here to see a slaughter. I came to see a fight. Send Lord Ulrich out there instead. I don't know. That Hayfield kid sure has made a name for himself. He's yet to lose a duel he's fought since he left the Academy of the Mystic Blades. He's not even looking at Grimgore at all, as if it weren't worth his full attention. Poppycock. That's only a mere kid out there. Grimgore Raven's likely at the same power level as Lord Ulrich himself. There's no way the child can win. He should try his best to yield quickly and avoid a painful death.
Many members of the crowd shared this last sentiment. The difference between a youth and a fully grown warrior was simply insurmountable. In their eyes, Nathan ought to try to yield as quickly as possible before Grimgore had a chance to strike him down. As Hilda Moonweaver sat back down and held on to her betting slip, she angrily shouted at those whispering around her.
You ignorant fools! Nathan Hayfield will cut that toff into pieces. You've no idea how hard that boy's been working. Just wait and see. But if you're truly convinced that I'm wrong, go bet and put your money where your mouth is.
At Hilda's words, a sizable group of people lined up at the betting stalls. Hilda smiled, then looked up at the heavens and hoped her ploy would work. Meanwhile, in the dueling ring, the host wiped his brow as he watched people scurry to the betting stalls. Place your final bets, folks. The first duel is about to begin. Grimgore Raven licked his lips at Nathan as if he were a tasty meal. Nathan's face remained emotionless as Grimgore cackled and tried to unsettle his young opponent.
Nathan Hayfield, we meet at last. You've said a lot of naughty things you shouldn't have said. Perhaps if you'll yield quickly, I'll only cut out your tongue and a limb of your own choosing.
Nathan looked past Grimgore and barely acknowledged him. The object of his gaze was instead the High Lord Raven, who closely observed from outside the ring. Grimgore frowned and took a step closer. "Did you hear me, child, or are you frozen with fear?" Nathan finally addressed his opponent coldly, but even then, he did not look directly at him. "Grimgore Raven, right? The man who first threatened my father many moons ago? Since you're so intent on dying, I guess I have no choice but to oblige you." "Why, you little creep!" Finally, the host held up his hands and signaled a trumpeter.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.